Hello and most welcome. I will speak a little about global and local reality. A brand new concept, one might say. It was invented quite recently but made popular by the 2022 Nobel Prize to Mr. Alain Aspect, Anton Zeilinger and John Clauser. It is a take on how reality really works, and it's taking a step away from the old concept of local reality. And I will begin by talking about what is local reality. Local reality is the default mindset who's everyone in the Western realm. This is what we have originally, long before we start thinking. One could say it is already in the mother's milk. So it's a gift you'd never asked for. It will be well established. It is extremely Western. It has its root in Western thinking, but not verbal, expressed thinking, not in the annals or in the old scriptures. No, it is in something more close to your experience. I would say it's pre-verbal, but you can still explain it somewhat. And there is also another reason why the distinction between local and global reality is so important and interesting is that global reality is the default, for instance, in the Eastern world. Once you go past the Indus or somewhere in that vicinity, you will encounter global reality. And that means if you want to have contact with people from that part of the world, you will not understand each other, nor what they're saying, because you are deeply entrenched in the old concept of local reality. Let me spin it down a little bit here. Local reality is the idea that you can isolate something, put a border around it, and look at that specific object. We could call it an atom or a molecule or whatever. So first you isolate something, you find this little particle or this little relationship, you find all their connections, all their properties. Could be weight, could be momentum, could be direction, density, you name it, everything. So you start by discerning the smallest particle, or as the Greek Ionian philosophers would have it, what is the earth made of? What is reality's ground stuff? So this is a unique Western question, and it leads to something that you could call atomization or reductionism. Reduce things, define them, and then from this little part you build the whole. So that's the reason, for instance, why Democritus said that the atom is the smallest object, and some other Greek philosophers said that water builds everything. By knowing this, you will know the world. In some ways, global reality is just the opposite. Exactly, I would say. Because here you start with everything first. And it's even so that the atom, the molecule, the smallest particle gets all its property from the totality of everything. Everything that exists gives the properties to the smaller things. It's exactly the other way around. So this is a demand for taking everything in, and then you can try to understand it. I would even say this is a particular mindset. The famed thinker Ian McGilchrist has said, this is the reality of the right hemisphere, who sees wholes, who sees everything before the parts. This atomism or reductionism would be the thinking of the left hemisphere. The hemisphere that takes everything apart, try to analyze, see distinctions, thinking that everything comes in steps, and that the relationship between two things, for instance, in space, is based on real numbers, or even natural numbers, 1, 2, 3. So the relation between this cup and this could be expressed in numbers somehow, preferably natural numbers. Global reality says no to that. A distinct no. A resounding no. There's another small little detail that is important here, and that is that global reality is a proven fact. We know that global reality is the thing. And we also know that atomism, particularism, moleculism, reductionism, you name it, it's not something that will give us the necessary understanding for making science, doing technological things. Let me give some more properties to atomism or distinctivism or particularism, or this tendency to take everything apart. For instance, here at the university, we think that this is a university. You think that information is inside the book. So you need to take everything that is around apart. So what you say to other people, where you are, how the place you are look. It looks like this, quite awful. That has no influence in your understanding. It's isolation, something that I think Martin Heidegger would call vorhanden. Isolate. Thereby you can understand the little molecule or the little meaning inside the book. By focusing, sitting alone in your chamber, isolate yourself, maybe listen to Beethoven's 5 or something of the similar. No need to talk to anyone else. And this is also taking into consideration the atom works by itself. The atom, or when it comes to a book, the meaning works by itself. You're not included. You as the observer, the I, is not part of reality. Wrong says global reality. Here, the observer comes into the calculation. Actually, is the most important feature. If there is no observer, there can be no understanding. And if you don't take the observer into the understanding, you will not understand anything. This is part and parcel why modern features of education today, especially in the Nordic country, look so stale, almost like hospitals. And that there is no surrounding areas where people meet each other, exchange ideas, relax. So we've gone even further than the Greek. Everything is cut in pieces. Everything is particular, distinct. This is actually something that Ian McGilchrist would call, once drawn too far to the left, it will become a disease. A person who will become like the model of the left hemisphere. That is a machine for not understanding. It's a mechanical, a bit exaggerated device to do calculations and to refrain from understanding. Actually, left hemisphere has little or non-connection to reality nor the body. So it's a disembodied way of approaching the world. Whereas global reality takes you as the observer, the eye, the pod, the chitta, the center into reality, and tells you also it is of most importance that you are present in this reality. And this is the starting point for understanding reality, is your experience. Whereas in local reality, experience is of non-importance at all. You are actually encouraged in the modern educational system not to introspect, not to feel your body. This place doesn't have even windows that can be opened. Everything that is natural, normal, or sound is gone. It's a clinical environment, actually quite similar to a hospital. And in a hospital, in a surgical department, you can and you are allowed and should cut everything open and separate everything. But it's not so good when you want to have knowledge of a broader thing, of humans, of our world, what will happen to the world in the future, which is also global reality. It's not local, even though we all try to think of the world as completely local. It is very far from local. It is global. And by taking in global, your mindset is also important. If you worry too much, if you shut yourself down, that will have an effect on the rest of the universe. It sounds like New Age, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's the Nobel Prize of 2022. And it's been stated so many times by especially Alain Aspect, but also Anton Zeilinger. So if you would want to transform this to a message, it would be take more things in. See every contact you make during the day. A hello in the morning, a smile changes everything. Local reality is the thing of the past, a misunderstanding that led to many dreadful things. You say Soviet Union, when it was at its peak, had gulag camps all over the place, the Third Reich, where you isolated, where you didn't feel anything more, where you become part of parcel of a machinery. No, global reality lets the human mind into working again, the human thinking, and it's very different when it comes to local reality, which is do not allow for abstract thinking. Everything is repeatable. Everything is machinery. And that is also one of the reasons, my finishing point here, AI so easily replaces this mistaken view of reality, the local reality. It's a piece of cake for an advanced machine to replace all current knowledge that is based on this isolation model. And come the quantum computer, that will be done in seconds. But it's already happening now. So global reality is the saner, more hopeful, more in parallel with how the reality works. This is contra-reality. This is a left brain excruciation of reality that doesn't really make any sense. It leads to contradictions in not the positive way. So hooray for global reality, and thank you very much for this short presentation. Bye bye. Cheers.